Ready to rock?
Yeah.
Can you talk about...
Someone literally just texted me asking me if our shows are kids appropriate. They're thinking about getting a group together and want to bring their kids to our New Year's Eve show.
Like what?
How do you not respond? No, it's not a fucking good idea. Like, you can't just give them what, like, you have to be like, you know what, buddy, how old?
Yeah.
Like, are we talking like 8?
Or 17.
Or 17? Are we talking like almost 21? Like, it's gonna be like, hey, we might have a couple of glasses of red wine. Do you mind if Timmy joins us? He's 20.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
What was your question?
76 traffic. It's the best. It's only going to take us about an hour and a half to get there. It is far, but this is definitely one of my favorite places to perform for Joel.
I've always produced shows at other venues for other people, and I've always had to get someone else's permission, get a date approval, and I've never been able to pull the trigger 100% on something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so I've always wanted to have my own brick and mortar, my own place.
Yeah.
And when the Valley Forge Casino sold to Boyd Entertainment, they wanted to move me from Fridays to Thursdays.
Pretty loyal fan base at Valley Forge, and then also who like to hang out with us afterward. And Joel's like the mayor of Valley Forge. He walks through, everyone's like, Joel! Joel! They love him. They love him at Valley Forge, man. Sitting over in the casino, got my backpack. There's no windows in the rooms here, so.
Special ed!
Dude, welcome to the greater Philadelphia area.
Comedy's like sports. I feel like I'm a quarterback, and I have a playbook, and that playbook is all the plays that I have. Knowing that it's Valley Forge, knowing that it's Pennsylvania, knowing that it's, you know, whatever, how many times I've been here lately, so I need to do new stuff. I kind of get my plays together that I think I'm going to do. So I have an idea, and then I'm going to watch people go in. I'm going to watch Joel go up and warm them up. And as all of that's happening, I start calling audibles. Like, this joke's not going to work. Calling a different one. So it's just kind of like you get up in front of the defense and see what the hell you got to do.
Yeah, I'm a kicker. I go in for a short period in the game, and I do the exact same thing. I get the hell out of there.
Around, right? And the one says, I grab the monitor, I hit the two-way button, I go, where? Daddy, I'm like, that's my boy. Now my three-year-old, he's just like my wife, you know, mean.
My buddy DJ and I used to refer to the Joel gigs as like the bro gigs.
Yeah.
Because it would just be like 15 dudes like in a party van traveling around doing like some of the craziest, like where you're like, I wouldn't do a gig here. Like Joel would.
Yeah.
When he first started, Joel put gigs everywhere.
Yeah, but he still does.
Well, no, but now he got some really,
now we have
he got some key venues.
I started working there in 2018 as their marketing videographer. Part of my job was to help promote different events throughout the casino. And I met Joel down in the vault, and he was doing the comedy shows. And promoting that was probably one of the favorite parts of my job, because I got to go down and watch live comedy. And every Friday, I'd go down there, film about a minute and a half of the headliner set, and then release it the next day to show people what they missed at the comedy show.
It's not Jimmy. You don't think I'm going to be able to pronounce it, right?
She doesn't know where Turkey is.
Don't you fucking challenge her. Don't you? She's got all the animals on her side. Don't you challenge her. Look at him sitting back. She doesn't know where my country is. It's a fucking comedy show. It's not a geography seminar. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? We're in King of Prussia. Who knows where anyone is? What the fuck? You think this is Prussia? We're not in Prussia. Are we in Prussia?
When I first first started producing shows, this is like 2008. It was half pizzeria, half bar. The address was 2.25 miles south of the Pocono Raceway. No numbers. You just had to go 2 miles south of the Pocono Raceway and then look on the right, and there it was.
So people just had to trust that they would find it. That they just go 2 miles down and
to the right.
Hopefully you'll get there.
I'm like, how does this place get mail? How do they get mail?
One of the first questions I wanted to ask is like, when Joel first started doing shows, like, do you remember what some of these nightmare gigs were like?
Yeah, so it's a really good question and very relevant. Joel, drug all of his friends and his family out, and his very first one was in Staten Island, and he lured everybody there with open bar.
And were you in Jersey at this point?
Yeah, I was living in Jersey. Joel was up in New York.
So you had to go all the way up to Staten Island?
We went up to Staten Island. Everybody did. I mean, my grandmother came from Pittsburgh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my dad, my mom. The one guy he had perform was so drunk he couldn't even speak.
Oh my God.
I fell down a flight of stairs because I drank. It was like one of those things where like...
You fell down a flight of stairs?
I fell down a flight of stairs because I drank so much because I was embarrassed for him. Like in the movie when you're so embarrassed for somebody, but... So you could just close your eyes and skip that part? Well, this was real life. I mean, when I lived in San Diego, he actually did 2 shows. He came out for the birth of my first child out in San Diego, and he actually booked to be on 2 shows while he was out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God, fucking crazy, man.
Just an animal. I mean, Joel, I was like, hey, we're going to go on vacation here, and he goes... Oh, great. He goes, I go, if you say book a gig, I mean, yeah.
Wait, so he went out to see your child, and while doing so, he decided, let me book a couple of gigs while I'm up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Joel, the first event I did was when he was at Valley Forge, and that's kind of how I got started working with him, and shortly after, he became my manager. And then, he would just hit me up randomly, hey, you want to do Deptford? You want to do, all these places I had never been or didn't even know there was a venue for. And I'm like, sure, let's go, let's do this.
I had the SoulJoel comedy circuit. I would have first Saturdays in Octoreros in Oxford, Pennsylvania.
The first Saturday comedy night? Do they have Uber around here?
No, there's 2.
There's 2?
And they're Amish.
It's hilarious.
I told her, I was like, I'm not bringing condoms. I told you I was going to bring you something back.
So Lefties would be a first Friday of every single month. You would go do that. Then the next day you might have a show at Octorero out in Chester County, PA, out in like Amish country.
Which one of these dudes do you claim, man? Because they both look equally disinterested in you.
You're a complete moron. They go, police! And you're on the other side of the door, you're like, really? You had to knock.
Mark actually was one of the first comics that ever did one of my shows. I think we've known each other for over 12 years now.
It's been my pleasure, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
Good show tonight. You did Joel's been doing his thing. When he first started, it was one room here, one room there, and now you got like 5 different shows across 3 different states. It's just amazing what you've done.
Beforehand, before he opened up this club, I mean, he's been doing crazy shows in different places. Whether it's at restaurants, random hotels that we're running to, we're doing after prom shows, like some nightmare gigs. We're here doing Joel's fundraiser. What is this, the 9th year he's done this? They got a band going on now, followed by Joel's sweet crowd work, followed by Dan, me, Mike Britt. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Pretty prestigious green room. Let's take a look around. I'll show you guys the tour. We got fresh hot water. We got a couple ovens.
Is your birthday today, or was it like in August? Next Thursday? I like how you just pointed to the past, but it's in the future. You're like, no, it was next Thursday. So if I could just... You're drinking moonshine? You fucked up? What's going on? What's that? You're getting there? All right, calm down. I'll do the jokes.
And people always say, they're like, well, you can't change people's minds about politics. You can change my mind. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I'll flip-flop any day of the week. I don't know. I used to say I was pro-life. Then I thought I got this girl pregnant. I was like, I'm a feminist.
This is a real white night. What is happening here? I know black firefighters. What the fuck is that? I put this address in my GPS. It was like, you sure?
So they're restaurants, basically the top floor of a restaurant that we turned into a comedy club for the night. I always brought the show to the people, right? And I didn't really have a home. My sister actually said this the other day, and I never thought about it, is that for 10 years, when I'm producing shows at other places, she's seen how lonely it is. At the end, people are always like, oh man, you live the life. You get to make people laugh for a living. And I'm sitting there breaking down the equipment by myself. I just hosted the show. I'm literally wearing like 5 different hats, answering the phone, and then you have to drive an hour and a half home. And it's like, who could keep a relationship like that, let alone, try to be traveling by yourself, and I'm a traveling joy salesman making other people happy, and I'm lonely as heck.
Right.
Heck.
It's hilarious. Next month is 10 years. That's 120 shows. You never heard about it, ever? Thank you so much.
Ourselves. Room of maybe 60, 75 people, maybe
It's a tough room.
maybe a tough room.
People are eating.
Totally different crowd, and that's the other thing too, is you're doing shows in all different areas.
I do feel like you guys should also be thanking me for doubling the black population here in Ocean County. Wow. This is a very diverse show. You got Chinese and black together. I see what you guys are doing. Keep supporting yours.
Big pepper one more time. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Next show is going to be Friday, October 4th. It's our 10th anniversary, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. Have a good night.
So Joel's kind of been trained to have to adapt in the worst of situations and elements, because that was really his business for a long time, is putting up shows anywhere and trying to groom the audience into, a comedy audience. So by the time he had a home base and a home club, it worked out really well.
Eventually, when he left, I asked him if he wanted to take me with him, and he said yeah. And it's been great ever since.
The town council, the borough council of the borough of Royersford, recruited me to try to open up. Now, I had tried 6 other times. This was my 7th time of trying to open up. And I just knew it was the sign from the universe that we've talked about. It's just, this is meant to be.
Yeah.
So I finally wanted to open it up.
To be here. It feels like I'm performing in a rich family's attic. We're in some weird office waiting to come on. And I'm like, are we in trouble right now? I feel like we're waiting for a father to come home from work to beat the shit out of us.
Okay, this is great. I'm so proud of Joel. He's one of the hardest working guys I know in comedy, and I told him like 2 years ago, I said, bro, one day you're gonna get your own attic. I'm telling you, you gotta. I know.
We did 4 sold-out shows the first month he was open, back to back. So I mean, it was a lot of work, but the energy was incredible. I mean, it looked beautiful. It had the right atmosphere. Everything sounded great. And it was just like, it was so much fun. And just the amount of people that came with like great energy, and like, I'd never like felt anything like that. And I think it was because of the, the trust that people have in Joel. And just the right atmosphere, the right people working together. It just all kind of fell into place.
A good citizen, being a nice friggin' person, I gotta hold the door for this piece of shit, right? Using my own friggin' strength to hold the door for this asshole. And it was during Hoagie Fest, so I was in a good friggin' mood. And she walked right on by and she don't even say shit to me. I said, I'm sorry. Pardon the frig out of me. I must be Patrick friggin' Swayze in Ghost, and you can't see my ass right now.
So we went in November, just like we were doing at Valley Forge, we're just doing every Friday. Then in December we added Friday, Saturday. Then in January we started doing Thursday night, every Thursday night, same $20 tickets, and we would donate $10 of it, half of it, back to a local charity. So we had Friday, Saturday night, different comics, and that's what we were doing too. We weren't doing all weekends when you see it. Comedy clubs have Wednesday through Sunday, the same comics. We were doing different comics Wednesday, different comics Thursday for our fundraiser, Friday and Saturday, different comics Friday, different comics Saturday. That way, we were kind of keeping the supply, simple economics, supply low. And if people wanted to come see, Giannis Pappas or come to see Shuli.
I won't even tell you the knock-knock joke. It's vile. All right, I'll tell you. She goes, by the way, no one is writing original knock-knock jokes anymore. My 10-year-old comes up, she goes, knock-knock. I go, who's there? She goes, throbbing wet pussy. Right? I know, I'm intrigued too, right? I'm like, I go, throbbing wet pussy who? And she goes, you need a last name? Open the door, stupid. I thought it was good. I had a guy at a show once go, is that for real? I go, are you out of your fucking mind, dude? What kind of house do you think I live in?
And it's nice because we're still at the really happy part, right? We're still at the really happy, fun part. Like, I'm not waking him up with my favorite game. Guess what mood I'm in today? Yeah. Like, I don't know, but you can guarantee it's your fault.
We sold out the half the shows in November, and we were doing it right away. But then it was like after the first weekend, then it kind of dipped out a little bit. Thanksgiving weekend we had a really big show, but it didn't start happening again until January. So December, just because of the holidays and different.
But within a couple months.
Within a couple of months.
The club was really selling out.
Was selling out, yeah, and we started after that add second shows, on the weekends, and then by the end of February, we were just rocking 5 nights a week, open mics on Monday, which you and Dan ran, and then closed on Tuesday. Wednesday night we were doing special shows. Thursday night our fundraising, Friday, Saturday, and yeah, we were rocking, man.
Coronavirus officially hitting the U.S. A SARS-like virus, which has infected hundreds in China, has now reached the United States.
The first case of the deadly Chinese coronavirus making its way to the U.S.
Of the virus. We did human to human. Yesterday we talked about that. What more do we know at this point?
Well, again, what we know is that it's spreading.
As President Trump is about to speak on the coronavirus outbreak.
Of the foreign outbreak, my administration has taken the most aggressive action.
No, my dad, the wild card, lives in Shenzhen, China.
Yeah.
And that weekend, we had been open for the first time 5 nights a week. Now, I've been waiting 14 years to open up my own place. And we finally went from 1 day a week. I had a staff.
Yeah.
I had payroll. I was paying people. And so I'm not just in charge of my bills. I'm in charge of Joey St. John and our other part-time staff members. My sister, we were booked out for our fundraisers through the summer.
Yeah.
We were going into September. Every Thursday night, people were like, I can't get a date. I was like, yeah, that's how far we were rocking.
Those comedy clubs, the wall of comedy, and there was tables all along here, black, like this table right here. There was black tablecloths, there was chairs, high tops, low tops.
My dad, who, because of his business, lives in Shenzhen, and they got shut down right after the Chinese New Year at the end of January. I remember being at Rivers Casino.
Yeah.
And I go, so it's the end of February, and he goes, it's going to happen. And I said, no way. He goes, start saving your money. It's going to happen. I was in such denial.
This is an evolving situation. Literally every day we learn a little bit more about it.
Then Julian McCullough, who him and I went to high school together, we did a fundraiser.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
you were there that
there.
night. So Thursday night, he literally gets off the plane. We're doing a fundraiser in our hometown, right by where you grew up, too.
Yeah.
And then Friday, Saturday, he's headlining our club here. So we're going to do the whole weekend. He gets off the plane in L.A., in Philly. I pick him up. He's like, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
I go, I think you're getting right back on the plane. Like, that's what's up. I think, like, that's how quick, in 5 hours, that's how quickly it changed.
Middle of our first national tour.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I couldn't pick a better time. But the last show we did was in New York City. And that's when, like, there was, like, rumors going around that there might be, like, a shutdown. They didn't know how they were handling the pandemic yet and what was going on. And then we had just had one cancellation. And I was like, I don't know what is going on. Like, I was like, you know, Joel's like, don't worry about it. And then they were like, you know, 2 weeks shutdown. And then Joel's like, it's fine. We'll push these shows back. We have plenty of space to move them around. And then it was like another week and another week and another week and then a month. And then it was like, you know, we couldn't do anything. And I was then like, I mean, I think it was like by late April, I was starting to panic a little bit.
And at that point, we were joking around about coronavirus.
Yeah.
Little did we know this would be completely empty by then, and we'd be out there underneath of a heated dome in the end of December.
Looks like you're giving a presidential speech with the podium.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it really feels like at this point we should just be having a press conference and, you know, laying it all out there.
This is Joel Richardson at SoulJoel's Comedy Club and Lounge in Royersford, Pennsylvania, right here at our socially distanced, brand new amphitheater. Every week we're adding stuff to it. We got a great show for you lined up tonight, headlined by Louis Katz and my good friend, well, they're both good friends, Greg Stone. Tickets are only $20. It's BYOB and bring your own chair. You can get them online or just snag them at the door. Doors open now. Show starts at 7. Come on down. You can use a laugh.
We slipped Friday, July 3rd. We just got everything up and running, and we opened up with Mike Vecchione.
But I gotta imagine, like, you know, getting back into comedy when we don't know what the fuck's going on. You come to the club, you know, you're all of a sudden in this grass field, you're on this fucking platform, like the sand wasn't even there, there's nothing built. Then it starts to rain and you're riffing. I think maybe Justin is taking the video.
Let's go on with the show. This is quarantine comedy. I'm performing in a parking lot, and it just started raining.
I didn't check the weather before tonight because I've never performed outside. I'm 100% Italian, and that's never actually helped me in my life. I thought it was going to be pretty special when I was 10, but it turns out no one gives a shit now. The only time I tell people is when I give blood, because they're like, what's your blood type? I'm like, it's funny you should ask. 100% Italian.
Well, originally, it was right here. This is where the stage was, but it wasn't this tractor trailer. It was just like a 4x4 foot stage about 2 feet high. And it was pretty comical. The comedians weren't covered, so if it started to rain, they would get rained on.
Joel was just like, yeah, this is great. I mean, Joel thought it looked great when it was just the tractor trailer. He was super proud of it. When I showed up July 3rd for Vecchione and Justin Silver,
Oh my, so he was like, this is it.
he goes, yeah.
How about
And it was just a dirt field, and a tractor trailer bed. Up on the hill. It wasn't even down below. And Vecchione and Silver were both like, this is way too high.
Because you go to some venues where it's like, oh, it's a nightmare because it's set up wrong. Yeah. Like a lot of times, but Joel knows comedy and Joel like understands stuff. But it's like I think it was the first week, so he was still trying to figure it out. But as a comic, it's like, oh, I don't want to be the guy you figure it out. Like I don't want to be the guy who has to be the guinea pig, you know. But I think just have fun with it. Like I was having fun with it, and I was throwing rocks at Joel and cursing him because of the rain. And you know, I remember he had a canopy over a bunch of coolers and empty stuff. And it's like there's a canopy over that, but there's no canopy over the stage. It's just, it was just funny. We had a good time. Like riffing, and it was just really fun. The Stove Factory. I was making jokes about this being next to the Stove Factory.
I'm between the Stove Factory And that building over there where I assume they make ventilators. But you know what? Just give me COVID. I think I would rather have COVID. Just give me COVID next time, Joel. Rebuild your canopy.
You're like, it's nice that you guys have a canopy. I'm gonna get struck by fucking lightning.
Yeah, it's so much. There's so much material there.
Lightning. Another benefit of performing outside. I could die from being hit by lightning. Good. No, good risk reward. Good risk reward. Talk about it at Wawa at the after party. Yeah, we're heading to fucking Wawa, motherfuckers. You heard. Oh, you heard it. That's what you do after a white power abandoned parking lot, you know, town hall. You go to a fucking Wawa, you get some hoagies. All right? You get knee deep in some hoagies. But the stage makes up for it, don't you think, guys?
You know, the rain. I couldn't believe it started raining.
Yeah.
It really started raining during the set, and it was hilarious, man. The DJ was back there. The DJ was covered.
Yeah. Everybody but you.
Everybody but me. It's one of those things, this situation, it just, you can't predict that. It was good all the way around.
We knew that we had to put something there. Something had to go in that dirt field. And we're like, no one's going to want to walk on gravel.
Yeah.
We can't blacktop it because then it's an impervious surface and it's you can't do that. Like, you have to get permits and stuff for that. Like, we needed something that was porous, that water could run through. And we were literally standing out there in a torrential rain because I called Joey and Joel and I'm like, meet me outside. I'm driving over there now. It's pouring rain. Because my original idea was turf.
Yeah.
And we're standing there in the pouring rain and we're like, I'm like, we can't do turf. We have no drainage system. Like, it's just, it's not going to work. And then I'm laying in bed one night at midnight thinking about SoulJoel Productions. I don't know what my life has become. But I'm like, oh my gosh, sand. And it just came to me. I Googled it. It's fairly inexpensive. And who doesn't like going to the beach?
Hey, what are you guys doing in that vacant lot? Haven't you heard? It's SoulJoel's amphitheater. Looks like shit. But haven't you also heard? We're getting a bunch of sand in here and we're going to turn this into our own little oasis. You guys are selling fucking drugs, aren't you? No, sir. We're selling laughs here. Like the beach people, and we're soon going to be playing in the sand at SoulJoel's amphitheater.
We ended up, by the end of July, we got 200 tons of sand, 9 tri-axle loads delivered, and our landlord, Rick Lewis, matched it. So we bought 100, he bought 100. And
wow.
Yeah, and the goal was to have because I had done the Staten Island Comedy Festival for 8 years, to plan the SoulJoel's Summer Comedy Fest. So 17 straight days, starting July 31st to go to August 16th, which was Dave Attell.
Yeah.
Starting with Joe List, and 17 straight nights, one day, making up for every week that we were shut down during the pandemic. I'll forget it. So Giannis is headlining, and we hadn't seen each other, and we got it just torrential rain the day before.
Yeah.
And we went, and Deanna went, my sister, to Lowe's or Home Depot, whichever one it was, and grabbed as much sand as she could. It was a ton of sand, literally a ton of sand.
Yeah.
I go to the guy at Home Depot. I'm like, hey, can I get that whole pallet? And he goes, what kind of car do you have? And I'm like, a Traverse? And he goes, it's not gonna all fit in your car. And so I'm like, okay, buddy. So I Google it, and I'm like, oof, he's right.
Yeah.
So then I'm standing out in the contractor section, and there's a truck, big pickup truck. And I go, can that truck? Because the guy comes out with the skid loader and trying to figure out how many trips I'm gonna have to make. Are we gonna make it on time for the show? And I go, would it fit in that truck? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. Is that yours? I go, no. But the guy who owns it has to come out eventually. And
you just waited there for it?
I just waited. Luckily, it wasn't long. So the guy comes out.
How many hours before the show starts?
Oh, we literally had an hour and a half.
Oh my
That's why I'm
God.
trying to time it out. I'm
That's a nightmare.
Tons of sand, literally tons of sand, and I'm trying to be okay, if it's 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, dumping the sand. I mean, I was covered head to toe in sand. So the guy comes out of Home Depot, and I'm like, hey, do you need some good karma? He goes, I had a really crappy day. He goes, sure. And I go, can we put this pallet of sand in your truck and you can deliver it to Royersford? He goes, sure.
Oh my God.
So they load the pallet of sand into his truck.
And just grabs a random guy and just goes, "Hey, what are you doing? You have a truck?" He's like, "Nothing." I mean, she literally put a half a ton of sand in this guy's truck. He could have driven off. He could have just driven off. He could have just left. She just all willy-nilly. It was like, "Can you meet me in Royersford?" He's like, "Yeah, I got nothing cooking."
I write it down on a piece of paper because I get back to the club and they're like, "Where's the guy with this? Like, where's the sand?" And I'm like, "Well, I got some in my car." And this
like,
guy, yeah, they're like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Some guy." They're like, "How does he know where to? How do we know he's gonna show up?" I go, "We don't. There's no guarantee." I go, "Because I didn't give him my number." They go, "Because they all ask." I go, "You didn't give him your number." I go, "I'm not an idiot." I go, "No, I wrote it on a piece of paper and I hope he shows up." I'm not a complete idiot.
Giannis shows up in his Tesla.
Yeah.
And he just sees us just sand deep, and he's like, "I'll never forget this." He stops his car, rolls down his window in a Tesla, and goes, "You still trying to do shows in Apocalypse, huh?" And I'm like, "Dude, not now. Not now."
I remember before we had a Jim Brewer show, like a hurricane hit 10 minutes before, and Joel, myself, and the team had to just figure out a way to just brush off the water. And then we went to Home Depot and we bought, oh man, probably a ton of play sand that you would put in like a kid's backyard play set, and we just covered all the wet spots with it, and the show went on.
Coming out. I really appreciate this. Thank you. The sun is setting. You're all in the shade, and for you nitwits that got here too early, what were you fucking thinking? Baking? How you doing, sweetheart? How are you? All right, good. You're trailing toilet paper, you know that. I got the biggest ball of sweat going down the crack of my ass right now. You have no fucking idea. I want to thank the guys in the back for bringing Lawrence Taylor's fucking helmet. Holy Christ. 35 years I'm doing this. I've sold out shows in Vegas, Atlantic City, but now I can put on my resume I played between a river and a fucking train track. Salute, buddy.
So James, how do you feel, how has it been hosting every single show throughout this entire thing?
Well, I've done most. Let's say fairness. It's been fun. I never expected it. I had no idea when the year started that I would be in suburban Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Close to woods.
Yeah.
Like hosting shows.
Yeah.
And yet still getting people I would see in New York.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's been fun. Look, man, this is the beauty of don't expect anything and just let the world come to you, and you can sometimes be pleasantly surprised. Because when I was quarantining back home in Vegas, it looked like it was gonna be gloom all year. And then Joel's like, "Hey man, we're doing a summer festival. You should host it." Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't believe. I mean, let's be honest. We're gonna put sand in the parking lot, and we're gonna have a stage, and it's gonna be cool. And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, man. I'll come back in like July, and then we'll figure it out, man." And it's like, "Hey, I'm picking you up in a few." You're picking me up for this?
Yeah.
All right. And then I get there, and you're like, "Oh, this is fucking crazy."
So, I mean, James and I have always been close, and for one time, at one specific moment in time, I was actually managing him as well. But him and I mean, he's one of my best friends. If I end up getting married, he'd be my best man at my wedding. You know what I mean? And him and I always talk from time to time. He lets me know what's going on in the Pulse in New York and what's going on up there, because I lived there for 15 years, but I don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
So now I need to get recommendations from comics. So whoever it's from, I kind of check in with him. And he was quarantined in Vegas, and then he was coming back. I knew the level of my shows were going to keep going up, especially over the summer. And with all the craziness going on, and before a show and running all around, sometimes it's hard to flip that switch and then go on stage and be funny.
Right.
And this whole time, we actually went through and counted musicians and comedians. We've hired 200 acts from January 1st to January 1st.
Yeah.
And it's something I really, really treasure and I'm proud of, that we paid it forward. And James is one of those people that we decided to have come down here, and he's basically been here at least 3 out of 4 weeks, sometimes the whole month.
Probably been on stage more than maybe any comedian during the pandemic.
Fair enough. I've always tried so hard to be tough, man. Because my uncles fuck a bunch of union dudes, man. A bunch of Italian dudes. They shake hands really tough. I hate that shit. All right, we're not starting a rally. Take it easy. Not with this group. I ain't even flirt with anything political here. Union, bitch! Fuck you! Gotta say this? I ran into Spring City earlier today. They're a little behind. I saw political signs for Reagan. It was pretty wild. For the wrong year. Reagan, 88. Yo, man, he's got to go. This guy believes I actually saw that. It's a joke, sir. Whatever.
That was such a big part of the festival, is having James kind of set the tone for every single show, where it just made you, whenever you were performing, having him host it definitely made you more comfortable. At least I felt so. It seems
Oh, of course. The fact that he knows those audiences so well, you know, he can just warm them up so good and just make them feel like, all right, we're here. You guys made it. You know, he's not going up there and doing, like, you know, his tightest material. He's going up, he's riffing, he's trying new stuff, he's doing some of his mixing it in. You know, James Mattern is like one of the best hosts in New York comedy history. You know, he just, not only is he a great host on stage, but I was telling him this last night, like when I first moved to New York, I did the Carolines March Madness contest where it's like 60 comedians go up and they each do a minute, you know, and whatever. So it's like, it's nerve-wrenching because you know, it's your first time on Caroline stage, and, you know, right before you go on stage, he's side stage with you, and he's like, hey, you want me to say anything about you? And it's like, no, man, I don't have any credits. You don't have to say anything. He's like, and he could tell you're nervous. He'll be like, baby, you're going to do great. You're going to do great. Just have fun up there. Just have fun up there, baby. You don't realize how much that means to you as a new comic when you're nervous, because as soon as, like, he, like, pushes your nerves down, you go up on stage, you have a better set, the audience has a better time. So just having that element as a host is like, it's so rare.
Well, that's interesting. I think I got faster in certain ways because you have to kind of hit. I've noticed even in as you're filming this, I have become a little more aggressive in intonation and having to grab people, and I think it's because it's gotten colder and people, you tend to get sleepy when you're cold. Yeah. And so that has forced me. And this is crazy. And I'm glad you're documenting this. I'm glad you are, because I've always joked that, like, venues and comedy and where you are is kind of like a baseball outfield. It's like a baseball stadium. They're all different, right? And you have to learn how to play them. None more than now. Now it really is. Now it is a sport. The environment changes it. The weather, the calendar changes how the laughs come and how you have to work it. So it's been like wild, like having to be like, oh, they're really cold, so I have to be a little more aggressive up front with them. I have to do this. It's changed everything. You really do feel like you're playing in the Green Monster in left field at Fenway Park, and it's different how you played in April compared to October in the playoffs. It's been so interesting. It's made us having to make more adjustments set by set.
Let it out. Dude, white people don't laugh like that. That makes me feel good, sir. I'm not being a dick, but I came up with Black and Spanish rooms. Black and Spanish folk, when they laugh, they move in their seats. That's fucking endearing. And it helps people lose weight. White people, you're doing fine, but white people don't laugh out like that. They just stare at you, go home and write a blog. I ain't reading shit.
Your laughs kind of get whispered in the wind. Yeah. People need to know that. Oh, you can hit hard and then, where'd that fucker go?
Yeah. So, like, you know, your job as the host is to serve the show, not your own career. You know, like, so that's what makes the show perfect, is having a comic like that kind of drive the train.
And to your point, I think that one of the things that, you know, of why people say that he's one of the best hosts out there is for that reason. Like, every time I've worked with him, he is always putting the show before himself, it seems like.
Mattern goes on, he kills, fucking just killing. I mean, it's a small crowd because, you know, rain, so we sold 110, but only 70 showed up, but they're all in the tent, and now the sand is all mud. It's just mud everywhere and puddles, but everyone's just accepted it because they're excited.
It's like Woodstock.
It felt like Woodstock. That's what I said. I feel like Aerosmith in Woodstock. Everyone's knee high in mud, and Mattern kills.
You know, I joke about that, but it's crazy. Like, I know people are scared to take the vaccine, right? I'm not going to get political, but everyone's like, it's rushed. I don't know about this. Yo, what if the vaccine side effect makes dudes pregnant? Guess what? I'm doubling. Let's go. I'm taking every dose in the city because I want to be the first dude who's pregnant. And yeah, dudes are like, that's not manly. Bullshit. It's the most alpha shit in the world. Be the first dude to shove a baby through your dick? Grow up. That's awesome. All you lumberjack, union fucking welders, whatever you are, you can't brag shit on me anymore. Oh, I had a tough day slinging concrete. How about you? I shoved twins through my pee-pee. Fuck you. Alpha male.
Wow, was James Mattern there to MC?
Yeah, we had James there. He's the best hostess with the mostest, and he killed it. And just some weird things happened, like the generator went out during James's set, and he rolled with it. He went Amish, Mark Twain style, just started yelling, killing, and just he's such a pro. Then I got up there and it was fine. Mike Pond is out there. He runs to the fucking Wawa, got some gas, put in the generator.
I am scared to go back into the old world if it goes back with stand-up. I kind of like this. I like how this doesn't make sense, and yes, and I like how you don't care that it doesn't make sense. We're in a fucking parking lot with sand in October. Is this crazy? Like, this is some Salem witch shit, and you're like, hey, tell me about your porn addiction. I mean, it's banana, dog. I don't say bananas, I say banana, because there was a wrestling announcer from Montreal. He barely spoke English, and he'd just say, they go banana. That's what I do, all right? One big-ass banana. But this is crazy. In New York City, comedy's illegal. Do you realize that? I'm doing that on roofs and shit to like 8 people with money, and it looks like you're in The Great Gatsby. If you get that, fuck yeah. If not, read more. Whatever.
You've had to, temporarily have Joel and James living with you. How has that been?
It's been interesting. It feels like, if for those of you who are that age, if you've ever seen Full House, I'm like Danny Tanner, and I have my kids, and then we decided James is Uncle Jesse and Joel is Uncle Joey. So if you guys have ever seen Full House, that's kind of what it's like. It's like one big happy family, just all living together in chaos.
Let's mention that, and you and I both agreed, and
just one of the best hosts.
One of the best hosts in the country, from LA to New York, and he's gone to Montreal the last 4 years. And he's hosted and warmed up the crowd for countless TV shows and comedy specials and album tapings that all these comics from New York definitely feel comfortable knowing that he's not going to try to upstage them. He's going to get the crowd ready to go, and people, whenever he comes up, they start cheering before I even hit the stage, and then I introduce him, and it was a no-brainer. I'm really proud to have him as our host.
Did you think you guys were gonna go on as much of a run as you guys wound up going on?
No, I didn't know what to expect. And then he was like, towards the end of the festival, was like, yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. You should come back in a couple weeks. Oh, all right, well, let's see what's going on in New York. Which is not much. I mean, it's a little bit, but something. He captured something. It was an interesting thing where the world's upside down. People have been stuck inside for a while, and they didn't know how to feel human again. And they were waiting for someone to tell them how to feel human. It was just, man, it was kind of lightning in the bottle. He made a beach. There's no beach. It's a river with two feet of water, maybe 2 feet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one. I've seen people fishing there. I've never seen a fish. I haven't seen any life in there. It's a tiny thing, and at night it looks like a Jabberwocky or a Bigfoot could walk through. And he made it where people were showing up with Trulies and White Claws, and I joked all summer, it looked like an 80s TV reunion of the Beach Boys. I'm older than y'all, but the Beach Boys without the geniuses, without Brian Wilson, the touring band would play, and they'd do TV specials, and you see like old ladies with funnel cakes and shit, and that's what it kind of felt like. It was like people just showing up, people middle-aged, just happy to do anything. It was cool.
Only got ready because Joel had been doing these shows for years. That's what I mean. Joel had been doing shows at the back of steakhouses with an amp for 25 years. So when the pandemic hit, he was the only guy ready. Every other comedy club was like, what do we do? Joel was like, man, I got a pickup truck. I got some wires. I know exactly how to do this. And he just knows, he's been around us for a long time. He knows every single comic. And so it's just like, Joel couldn't have been set up. I wouldn't be surprised if Joel started the virus.
It fell a little bit too perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All of a sudden, he has that great field in Royersford. I mean, no one knows the origins of this thing, but I think some fingers need to be pointed at Joel Richardson.
It was just incredible, and to see like how he set it up, and it was feeling like unlike any other.
It's crazy when Joel announced the Summerfest because the names that he got on that bill were insane. I mean, you have everybody from Dave Attell was the secret headliner at the very end of it, but he had people like Jessica Kirsten, Mark Norman, Joe List, Keith Robinson,
Sam Morrell, Daryl Hammond, Jim Brewer, Rachel Feinstein,
Michael Rappaport, Michelle Wolf. Dave Attell came back. Then you had Joe List and Friends, and Louis C.K. came twice. Nikki Glaser, another one, Donnell Rawlings. I mean, just heavy hitters from all over the country.
Chris Stefano, I got to go before. That was awesome. Giannis Pappas. All of a sudden, you and I, we open a lot of shows, and we're kind of, trying to figure out a career in comedy. And all of a sudden, we get this opportunity to open for some of these heavy hitters like that. I mean, we kind of fell backwards into a gold mine here of working with Joel and of getting to work with all these people, but the amount of people that he got, I mean, Louis J. Gomez, the Legion of Skanks, I mean, Ari Shaffir, Shane Gillis, all these people that he booked throughout this year, the Summer Festival, Fall Festival, Winter Solstice, has been insane.
Wild scene in Royersford, Pennsylvania last night as Big J Okerson got yanked off stage by his ankles by some bitch-ass drunk fan in the crowd.
I was doing an outdoor show, was hanging out with some comics, and somebody told me. And the first thing, we all were like, oh, is he okay?
Yeah.
And once then we watched the video of it. Somehow we got the video of it. And
it looked terrible. I mean, it looks like
it really looked bad. It really looked bad. But we got confirmation pretty quickly that Jay was okay. And then the more we heard was that guy got the worst end of it. Like Lewis jumped in, and I think that guy was number one in the wrong and got the worst of it.
What's hilarious is how much I've had to tell this story, because as it just shows from where the video goes and stops, and everyone, first of all, you have to tell everybody that it's not a lunatic behind me pushing me, that I was actually pulled by my feet.
But what's weird about it is I think a lot of people had this, it looked like, because Lewis runs in from the back, it looked like Lewis ran it, the person tackled him from behind, but it's actually someone pulling him off stage. So
Oh, I thought it was a fake video. I thought it was one of those things that Ari found a video on WorldStar of a fat guy getting tackled at a comedy show. And then I looked into it, all these comics started posting about it, and it was actually Big J.
Holy
and
shit.
Of course, everybody was freaking out, and I was worried. I was like, is this real? And
Yeah.
I didn't know how badly injured Big J was, but it turned out to be good where he got away scot-free, I guess.
I saw. I was at the stand when it happened, and Soder ran in. He's like, "Big J got pulled off stage at SoulJoel's," and I went, "What?" And I called Big J, and I couldn't believe he answered. And there was like 8 of us sitting around my speakerphone, and he's like, "Yeah, it was crazy," because we saw the video. We thought Lewis pushed him. That's how it was so grainy and shit. It looks like Lewis came up behind him, but Lewis was just that much of a psycho that he was ready for a brouhaha, so he just saw his buddy getting fucked with and just jumped off after him.
I was directing people away from the altercation to get them back to their cars, and I was like, well, this is it, we're shut down. Joel comes up to me and he's like, we're gonna be fine. He's like, I think this might actually be good for us. And sure enough, I mean, after that, people started to talk about SoulJoel's, and it was crazy how quickly we blew up in 14 hours after that event, that it just skyrocketed us into all the big names that we've been getting ever since.
I think that it got enough press. I mean, the cell phone video footage of it got on Rogan, and the timing of it, it was weird. It was all just one big perfect storm, because in the middle of it, a lot of people forget it was the Legion of Skanks presidency that was going on, the presidential race. We were in the middle of a presidential year, and all of the members of Legion of Skanks were running for presidents, and Ari Shaffir was running a very aggressive campaign. And he was running for president, and he had Shane Gillis was his VP, and Dan Soder was the super PAC. And immediately, as they heard of this happening, we weren't even knocking the sand off of our arms. And one of the comics was at the stand in New York, and they called Joel, and they were like, "Hey, Joel, has this really happened? Did this happen or whatever?" Minutes later, Ari Shaffir puts up a video of saying that he was trying to assassinate Big J, and because he was all right, it was turned into this funny bit in the Legion of Skanks. It was probably one of their most watched podcast episodes. I'm sure it was. The following week, when they reviewed all of this stuff, they talked about everything that happened.
If that wasn't enough, the political ramifications from this act of terrorism can be felt throughout the entire comedy landscape.
What you saw tonight was one example of what the Soder Super PAC is capable of.
Ari Shaffir, Dan Soder, and Shane Gillis, my vice president, claimed responsibility for this right away. Ari puts out a video of them claiming responsibility and showing the fall while we're talking to the cops and the man is still being arrested.
No.
Yes.
No. What it boils down to is the Shane Gillis, Ari Shaffir, Dan Soder Super PAC has taken credit for this terroristic attack.
Drop out of the race, Jason Okerson, or these attacks will continue.
And if you ask me, I wouldn't put it past the Okerson-Gomez ticket to stage this event, because what better during an election than get a little bit of sympathy and have a heroic act? I mean, the polling is going to go through the roof for their ticket. So, who you got?
Well, James was up on the stage. I was worried about the microphone and the equipment, because there was like a scuffle going on, and I'm like, Big J had the microphone in his hand. I didn't want something to get ripped off the stage, the equipment get broken. It would be an entire, much bigger deal than it was. Luckily, Jay, wasn't hurt or anything, so it turned out to be all right and just an ongoing, not joke, but laughing type of story. The microphone was in the sand, and I tried to get it out of there, and I was getting it up, and I was getting the stand off. James was on stage behind me, and I was down on the ground, and he saw that I had it, and he said, "Toss me the microphone," and I tossed it up to him, and as an entire scuffle is going on, James just gets on the microphone, and he's just like, "So my 5-year-old nephew the other day," as if he was going into a bit, and people just lost it. They all just looked up at him, like, I'm pretty sure the guy is just on top of Jay in the sand, and they all look up, like, it was, that was probably the funniest thing that happened at that point, and then things just got crazy after the fact.
So then I go, how old are you? She says 24. And then I have like a bit prepared to say that I'd learned last year that young white girls fucking ruin comedy. I have a long thing. I tell about it. But the point of the joke is very evening out to be like, so just laugh. Like you're making a big thing out of no one's angry at you, no one knows your life, no one's picking on you, whatever. So then she starts, so here's where it goes haywire immediately. She goes, so they started back on her phone, and I go, "Miss, who are you texting there?" I go, "Are you jotting all this down so you can remember it?" And she goes, "No, I'm texting my black boyfriend." So no one cares, of course. Everyone's like, "Okay." And then I go, a
few people yelled "ew."
No one. Nobody.
A few.
But I go,
you weren't.
Do you have to check in with him every hour to make sure he knows he has enough time to get bitches out of the house before you get home? And then, by the way, in that one, I actually go, "I'm fucking with you, sweetie. I don't know you or your boyfriend. Like, why are you getting so wound up over something I don't know?" And she goes, "I'm actually pregnant right now with a black baby." And I went, "Well, I mean, that's more your father's problem than my thing." I go, "What do you think I give a shit?"
And also, she's hammered.
Yes.
So if she's actually pregnant, which I don't think she is, I think she was kidding. But if she's actually pregnant, it's crazy.
No, she was kidding. You don't remember? So here's how it goes. This is where it goes fucking bananas. So her mom yells out. She goes, "She's lying. She's not pregnant. She's not pregnant at all." So then the girl goes, "No, I'm not pregnant because I had an abortion." Like that, all spooky.
Not the Skanks fans are like, yeah.
She's just created the narrative in her head that we're all alt-right, whatever, racists who are pro-life.
Gotcha.
She goes, "I had an abortion," and I went, "I gotta tell you, miss, for someone who's hung up so much on racism, you're the only person here tonight who's just confessed to killing a black person." I go, "So much for that Black Lives Matter tattoo on your pussy." And she goes, I swear to you, she's sitting in her chair, she just goes, starts screaming.
Big J was doing crowd work as he always does, just flaming some drunk chick. When her boyfriend decided enough was enough, pulled Jay off of his patented stool, off stage, onto the ground. Luis Gomez pounced on him along with the other Legion of Skanks guys. The dude got the shit kicked out of him. He got pepper sprayed and arrested.
Royersford, Pennsylvania. Shout out to SoulJoel Comedy Club, SoulJoel Productions. I've known SoulJoel a long time. That guy, he's a hustler. He produces these shows. He's great. He's been producing shows for a long time. He took really good care of us, and I suggest everyone support his shows because he's one of the guys who, has been booking guys like us for as long as, you know, I've been doing comedy. Like, I was doing SoulJoel gigs before I was ready to be doing gigs on the road, right? He was booking guys like Kurt Metzger and Big J and Vecchione and fucking, you know, 12 years ago, before these guys were names and known as being guys that you should be headlining, right? So I have respect for those guys that sort of have that insight. And yeah, he's fucking doing great. He's got fucking sponsors. He sold like a local dentist sponsor on the stage. I'm like, this guy's just me, but he's just doing it in a small shit town.
Yeah.
You know? I want to live
And
that life.
we need people like him.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but sometimes a horrible incident can really make a place pop. I mean, look at Bill Burr with the Philly rant. You know, that he thought that was a career ruiner. It turns out it broke him. Jim Jeffries got punched in the face on stage. That broke him. So sometimes a terrible thing can spin gold.
Now, the Big J getting pulled off stage, that boosted them into the next level. I mean, SoulJoel's cleaning up after Big J's fat ass got ripped onto the sand. That's the best thing ever happened to this club.
I will be at SoulJoel's Comedy Tent Dome.
I'm going to be at SoulJoel's Comedy Club in Royersford, Pennsylvania.
At SoulJoel's Comedy Club.
So excited to be playing SoulJoel's Amphitheater this Friday.
Royersford, PA.
That's right, Royersford, Pennsylvania. I'm coming to SoulJoel's.
At SoulJoel Amphitheater.
Because I'm coming to SoulJoel's, baby.
Royersford, Pennsylvania. I am here.
Coming to SoulJoel's Comedy Club Outdoor Amphitheater.
I'll be at SoulJoel's in Royersford, Pennsylvania.
I'm going to be at SoulJoel's Amphitheater.
Tomorrow I will be at the SoulJoel Outdoor Amphitheater.
I will be in Royersford, Pennsylvania.
I'll be at SoulJoel's tomorrow. SoulJoel's in PA.
Hey, what's up? This is Jessica Kirsten. I'm going to be at SoulJoel's this Saturday, October 24th, 6 p.m. show. Come to the show. Bring your bitch. You're going to love me, guys. You're going to laugh a lot. SoulJoel's, October 24th, 6 p.m. Go to souljoels.com. I love tits.
Just by talking about fun experiences or crazy stories where people fought on stage, like just talking about the Comedy Store started to see the influx of sales, and then the show started to sell out. So just by this whole podcast era has revived comedy clubs. So I think that's what's happening with SoulJoel's is like every comic is promoting it, telling a story about it. Even if it's like a mundane thing, like, oh yeah, we got there and, you know, it's this trailer and, you know, there's sand pit and it's like, you know, and then this guy Joel is named SoulJoel. I thought he was black, but he's white. I don't know. Sean Patton was like, I thought you were going to be a little bit more like soul-y.
Yeah, maybe like in a purple suit or something.
Yeah. He's like, I forgot what he said on stage. It was so funny. He was like, oh, you're more like soul, like, you know, like you're just a good person.
So yeah, thanks for coming. This looks like you guys are waiting for Godsmack to come on. Just me, gonna make fun of some Jews, and we'll all pack it up. Just taking it all in, folks. Here is comedy.
How did you first hear about the club? Did you hear about it from Joel, or did you hear about it from other comics that had done the gig and then?
That's a good question. I think there was just a buzz about it. We were all desperate for anything.
Yeah.
And then this thing popped up, and I don't know if I heard from other comics or if Joel hit me up. I think Joel hit me up. And I went early, and it was weird, and there was sand there, and I hadn't seen Joel in 28 years. And, you know, it was good to see James hosting. So, yeah, I mean, we were up for anything. You know what they say now, the hell gig is the new gig.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, hey, it's outdoor, people are showing up, fuck it, let's do it. And that's all it was. Hey, it's 2 hours away, not bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all drove out there, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then you see David Tell's going, Jim Brewer's going, and then before you know it, it's like Nikki Glazer's doing a set, and Chris D, and all this. So yeah, it was a godsend. We needed it. We'll have fun. I don't know where I am. Royersford, yes. Good town, good salt of the earth people here. Just want to thank everybody for taking the night off at the mill. Thank God everybody bought their folding chairs. I see a lot of feet. That's gross. How you doing, sir? You're terrifying. All right. I'm joking. You look great. Is that you in the front? Wow, look at you, VIP. Well done. I think you got a divorce there, but Great about Joel is he's such an adapting weirdo. I mean, like, he could have just settled like, oh, it's pretty good. People are coming out, but he kept upping it. He's like, you know what? We're outdoors. We got a good stage, but we need sand. And everybody's like, why do you need sand? He's like, I want to make it like a beachy vibe. Okay, bring in some sand. All right, now we got sand. It's getting a little cold out there. All right, bring in a tent. Bring in some heat lamps. Like, he just keeps going, and he's like, how can we make it better and better? And that's the beauty of Joel. He's Elliot Page. He just keeps transitioning whatever is better and better. He just keeps going. And I think Joel's show could even work non-COVID. It's so well done, the tent and everything, and the stage is perfect. So that's all we want is that laugh, and you can't really get a laugh on the Zoom, but Joel's show you could, and that's why it was such a hit, and still is a hit. And I'll be there in February on the 10th.
Maybe in 20 years, maybe I had done 3 or 4 outdoor gigs, and I had done comedy in Iraq. Like, I did some USO tours, and I was saying that all summer. Like, I was like, this feels very similar to doing military shows because they're so grateful. Like, you're outside and they're on picnic tables and it's weird. And then the audience, soldiers in one instance and then just regular people in another, are just so grateful because they're in hard, difficult situations. So that's what it felt like. It felt very similar to USO.
I thought that at first you were going to say Joel's shows felt a lot like Iraq when I first
People come for comedy. They're not wandering off the street. Like, New York comedy clubs, like, they made an effort to, like, preserve stand-up. They were doing shows in the park, and, I see pictures of comics performing in front of people sitting on blankets and, talking to, squirrels or whatever, whoever graces the stage. I don't even know. The tree stump.
The lawn.
There's that. I mean, when I was playing in parks, I swear to God, a squirrel, these squirrels were trying to get some ass. They were trying to, like, start shit. Squirrels would come behind you. They were starting stuff. I saw drug deals in parks. People didn't know there was comedy. People were doing calisthenics while you're doing your jokes. Everything changed.
Well, it felt like, you see grass growing through the sidewalk and you're like, oh, nature's finding its way through. Like, that's how I felt about all the comedy shows that were popping up, is that stand-up is sort of, pushing up through the cement to survive.
Like, Joel is so fair. He pays the comics well. He makes you feel like a professional comedian in a time where people are second-guessing their life choices.
Absolute pleasure working with Joel and learning from him. And, he's very experienced. And I think, he's definitely one of the most creative people as far as live entertainment and adapting and putting on shows and making sure that, the entertainers are taken care of, but also that the audience members are taken care of. And it's really a joy to kind of be able to learn from that and see that in action and see someone who's so dedicated to, live art and, taking care of us, performers, and making sure that we have opportunities available to us.
I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. And then when I went there, a couple people told me, no, it's fun. Because I had seen, there was like one video of Mike Vecchione and like an old lady like walking out during it.
Yeah. Before the stage was even built, he was on like a little black box. There was no sand. It was a mess.
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of like, oh, Jesus. But then a couple people kept saying, no, it's good. It's pretty fun. So I was like, all right. And then the first time I went there, I was like, oh, this is like amazing. But the first time I had been there, they had already put the sand up and built the little stage. So
this is actually a great gig. I mean, Joel just knows comedy. He's done comedy. He's produced comedy for 1,000,000 years. So he really made it into something. And then Big J getting dragged off stage and all that really made it put it on the map. And it's one of the best shows in the country right now.
I never even heard of SoulJoel until 2020, and everyone's talking about SoulJoel's Royersford, everywhere. Every podcast you listen to, every comic is talking about SoulJoel's.
There was a club in Royersford, Pennsylvania. Well, I can't remember the name now. SoulJoel's Comedy Amphitheater. He had opened up a 120, 130-seat room right before COVID hit. Like many small businesses, it was devastating. And I'm not saying what any small business should do, but SoulJoel, that's his name, Joel something, where things were taken away from him, he saw an opportunity. And there was a giant field outside the office building where his comedy club inhabited the top floor. And he took a 18-wheeler, the bed of an 18-wheeler, repurposed it as a stage, laid sand down over the entire field, and said, we're doing a 400-person capacity show here. Got permission from the people who ran the office space. And he called it SoulJoel's, I forget, comedy festival for the I think 31 days for the 31 shows he had to cancel, something like that. Outdoors, totally safe, and it became the best club in the East Coast.
Yeah, we love you, JoJo.
I mean, I love that place. I can't say anything more about it. I think they're doing the best outdoor comedy of anybody.
I agree. Now, can I ask about the setup? It's getting a little nippy out. Does he have a hot tub or a fan or a heat lamp? What are we talking?
Well, he's got 2 fans right here, baby. We love you, pal.
Yeah,
but he's got
big fat chooch.
He had a tent, which is good because we're doing the first tent show, and this is a rainy night. If you remember, a rainy night in Soho last Wednesday. And so it's rainy. He's like, don't worry, we got the tent, and it's the first one, but it's on all the sand, and it was pouring. I mean, we're going down there. It's pouring, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
It's all right, getting ahead. I'm getting ahead.
So I'm in Royersford, and I asked Louis, hey, I don't know if you want to come by. We had a fun time last time. Let me know if you want to come. I got Ronan Hirschberg and Steve Big Dick Rogers.
All right, fun crew.
And, of course, James Mattern is hosting. And so I got the car. I'm like, we'll meet at my place. We'll all drive down. Anyways, we drive down, and Steve was great also, and we had a great hang the whole ride, great car ride. But then it's like pouring, and Louis like, how far is this fucking place? We're skidding off the road. It was like this wild night where it's like having a dad where you have to be like, I guess we got to be quiet right now because the road is, I mean, it was pouring, torrential rain.
Don't make me come back there.
We get there. Finally, the rain has pittered out. It's spitting now. We meet up with James Mattern. I'm starving. I forgot to get food. I didn't want to make him stop because we were running late. And then SoulJoel goes, don't worry, I ordered some pizzas and a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, the man.
And his brother-in-law or father-in-law, somebody comes in with 3 steamy pizzas.
Ooh.
We open it. It's like a classic pizza.
Ah, the cheese with the melty and the hot.
Classic. I mean, it just looked perfect circle, the red rim, the white cheese. Oh, it was beautiful. You know how you see people now, these fucking hipsters are like, we got a pizza, and there's rabbits on it and fucking sticks and leaves, and you're like, fuck you
brutal.
Fucking douche.
It's cauliflower queef. Get out of here, you cum guzzling nuts.
I mean, this was a pizza, like a pizza you see in a kindergarten book where you're like, pizza. He brings down Steve Rogers, killing.
Come on.
Kill. I'm telling you, he's killing. He's killing. He's got his dick out. They're all sucking it.
There you go.
Best set I've ever seen him have. And I've seen him do some killer stuff. I mean, he is killing, and the crowd's hot, and me and Louie and Ronan are in the back, and it's one of those ones where everyone's excited to watch each other. Ronan goes up, and he takes it up a level.
It is.
So I go up, and I'm killing. I had to do the thing where I'm like, you guys are ruining every show that we do in the next week, because I'm going to be up there going, yeah, but be fucking your wife, because it's killing so hard, I can't even believe it. So I do about 20, and I go, hey, folks, that's it for me. What a great crowd. And they think it's over. They're happy. And I go, I got a friend of mine came down for the trip. It's Louis C.K. And they go, ape shit, and the rain is coming down. He comes up. He's all wet. And he just sucked their dicks for about 30 minutes, killed. It was raining. It was kind of drizzling and raining, and it felt like Woodstock. And that made it special to me because it felt like everyone was like, no, we're going to this show. And the sand had all become mud. Yeah. And then it was dripping, so we kind of had to find space underneath the thing. And I joked on stage. I was like, this is like Woodstock 94 or 69. I guess it was muddy there too. But it was just raining and there was mud, and it gives an extra feeling of we're all in this together, we're trudging through, and so everybody that's there really wants to be there. A lot of times comedy clubs, if you go to the Funny Bone on a Thursday, they're kind of papered in, they won tickets, they call them at home and say, hey, you got free tickets, and people go, okay, I guess we'll go to this bullshit. But if people are walking through mud, they see the forecast, it's cold, it's rainy, they want to be there. Yeah. So that was a thrill, and also everyone's in the same sort of position. We're all wet. We're trying to find a place to get dry. Our shoes are all muddy. It just really made it feel special. It was like one of the most memorable shows I've ever done. Me and Steve and Rana, we're like, is there chairs around here? We get 3 chairs. We wipe them off. They're all wet. We stick them in the mud, and we're sitting there, and it's drizzling, but no one gives a fuck.
Wow.
So we're sitting side stage in the rain, watching Louis. Everybody's wet. The guys that all work there, Mike Pond, he brings cookies. Because we talked about Wegmans. They're all Tuesdays. So the guy just drops a box of Wegmans on us. I mean, I shit blood. Steve and I are making out. We eat the cookies.
Holy hell, what a night.
Then we get in the car. I'm almost done. We get in the car, and we're all going, what the fuck? That was amazing. Can you believe that? Oh, my God. You had a great set. No, you had a great set. No, you're the best. Oh, God. We're all fucking in the car. Then we're driving up the street, and I'm about to say, we got to stop at Wegmans. I need some extra Wegmans. There's an ice cream place right down the street. It's all fluorescent white, established 1945 ice cream.
Oh, come on.
I go, oh, my God, look at that ice cream. Louis goes, what? Lays it out. I mean, like, just lays a slab on the ground. Everybody's holding the thing. He does the one-handed.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Spin around. I mean, like, we're in the big SUV. Big fucking tire slab. We pull in. It's 9:05. The little nerd guy looks exactly like me. He comes out, picks up the menu. The lights click off.
Oh!
Louis slams on the brakes, puts it in park. We're not even in a spot. We're in the middle of the thing. I go, do the thing. You're a celebrity. He comes running out, pulls his mask down. He's like, hold on. And then you can't hear him because he's up there.
Yeah.
And the last thing I hear as he's like running, he goes, I'll give you $100 for 3 cones. And then you see them kind of have an exchange. And then he turns and goes, waves us in. We all go, oh my God. I go, come on.
Come on.
We leave 4 car doors open. All the doors are open. The lights are on. The windshield wipers are going. It's a little nerd guy. I mean, it looks exactly like me, but shittier.
Yeah.
And then like a woman who's kind of hot, but older.
Where'd she come from? Who's this?
She was in there sweeping.
The sweeping cunt.
He's the menu guy. She clicked the lights off.
Yeah.
Lights come back on. They're leaning out the window. What'll it be, boys? And I get a big dish of chocolate chip. He gets strawberry, whatever the fuck kind of ice cream. He gives her $100. The woman's like, I can't take this. And he's like, you got to take it. Give it to somebody else. Meanwhile, you're like, you work at an ice cream shop in Royersford. Take the money.
But this is God-fearing Christian country. They got to be by the Bible and the 10 Commandments and, kid fucking.
She might have been confused. I don't know what happened. Eventually, she took the money. We ate the ice cream in the car. He's got the cone. We're all just quiet, eating our ice cream. The whole way home, we talked movies, music, comedy. I mean, it was amazing.
Wow.
He drops us off in the middle of East Hell. We all get cabs. They got Ubers. They don't believe in cabs, these young kids, whatever. The yellow cab business is about to die. So I jumped in a yellow cab.
Yes, dying.
Cruised all the way home. And what a night.
Wow.
Magical, special. Thank you, SoulJoel. And I don't know how we're going to top that. I'm back in January. I don't know if Louis will come, but my God, he can come in my face.
Now, Chris.
Right now,
you carry cat. You a cash guy?
Right now, I got $600 in cash because I sold merch at SoulJoel's last weekend.
When, this morning? What the fuck?
No, this weekend. But I got $600 in cash, fuckface, because I sold fucking T-shirts outside the fucking heated comedy dome in Royersford, Pennsylvania.
Back on tour Saturday, March 13th, 7 p.m. I am in the capital of America, Royersford, PA. That's Royersford, PA, where it all goes down, where dreams are made, where stars are found. Come see me at my good friend, old school. Me and Joel used to roll. I couldn't be prouder of him. He's got a great comedy club there. Now he has a heated dome, socially distanced, BYOB. Come, everyone's doing it. I can't wait to go back and do a show there. Doing stand-up touring. Come see me live. The tickets are below or above. Click it, buy your tickets, tell your friends. And if, I don't know, there's only a few shows I'm doing. So if you live in California, you want to see me, time to come to Royersford, dog. That was early on. And then, we would drive and do any gig. SoulJoel would have a lot of gigs in Jersey and
You would find someone that would produce a lot of gigs. And so then he would have SoulJoel would have me, him, Soder, Vecchione. A lot of us would do a lot of his gigs. I remember doing SoulJoel gigs. Some would no one would show up.
SoulJoel. By the way, SoulJoel's cooking right now.
Yeah.
He's the only club in the Northeast.
Like outdoor shows,
He's
right?
getting Seinfeld to do it. It went from
he did.
I'm just saying all the good comics are doing it now.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else going on. And
he just knew how to run shows. I mean, he just knew how to do it. But but we were around him when he was starting out too. So some of those first shows. Now he's cooking. Now he's actually he makes and doing really good shows.
He's got his own club. He's got his own club in Royersford, PA.
Oh wow.
That's where Big J got attacked on stage, right?
Yeah. By a fan. Yeah. That's what happens when you go on the Legion of Skanks.
Yeah.
They love you so much they hit you.
Yeah. They When we do, I remember doing one Soul Joe gig when no one was there, and it's like you still got to go up, and you're like, I don't want to, let's just not do it.
Possible chick on chick? I have no idea. This show's taking a weird turn, isn't it? It started like a sex ed class, like, hi, do you guys use condoms? Everybody's been crying at the oh, thanks, man. Soul Joel, give it up for Soul Joel, everybody. Be honest, right? If you came to like a Soul Joel comedy show and you knew it was called Soul Joel, would you be expecting to come in and see a white dude like that? Like, yo, where's Soul Joel? You'd be expecting like a dude named Jerome with like a fedora hanging off his head. Like, yo, welcome to Soul Joel Productions, baby. What's up? It's one of my shows. Can I get you a cognac or something? Thug Passion, something? Not a dude like him with a soul. You're like, how you guys doing? Name's Soul Joel. See you at the Wagner halftime show. We'll all be announcing the game. Thank you very much. Did I get his cadence on that? After the show. Is that how he talks? That one didn't go so well. Can I get you guys a water?
But it's like to get the money, you got to do something. You're doing a show for like one guy. But that was at the beginning when he was still figuring out his world.
Yeah, he was like us starting out.
Yeah, he was like us starting out.
He quit his job in like sales and is like.
Is Joel like the old dude that hangs out here too long until he's finished here? One person is on board. Like you always outside her dorm room. Hey, what are you doing today? I'll go get some tater tots.
Shout out to SoulJoel, baby.
SoulJoel's doing great. Dude.
He's doing. We were out there.
You guys went out there for the first time. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things.
The dome wasn't up, but yeah.
I started my career doing shows with the great SoulJoel, and it's one of those things where it's like everybody's playing in Joel's world now. It's like for the long
dude. He's like the king of the East Coast.
He's making more money than a lot of comedy clubs, and I got to be honest. Tim Dillon's going down there. You guys went down there. Louis was down there. It's like. Go if you're looking. I feel like Royersford, Pennsylvania is like a
big
comedy.
Ari, everybody goes there.
SoulJoels.com. Go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That dome was pretty sweet.
The dome is sick.
We were supposed to be the first show with the dome.
Dude, and we
pull
up.
into town at like 4 p.m.
There's one guy with a fucking screwdriver trying to set that thing up.
Literally.
Like we were 2 hours before showtime. We're like, this ain't gonna fucking happen.
So they just bailed on the dome.
We just had the heaters, but it was fucking great.
It was great,
yeah,
dude.
it was nice.
And when you guys go back, if you go back in the winter and do the dome now makes it like you feel like you're inside, even though it's perfectly safe and legal. It's like the laughs don't dissipate; they hit off the top of the fucking dome.
Dude, what we're doing with our lives is crazy. You're like, no, the dome's pretty good. The dome's pretty good.
God, I'm making money in Royersford.
$600
Kids moving merch. Man.
Yeah,
pretty nice.
I bought a house in Royersford with the T-shirt money.
You could buy a neighborhood with the T-shirt money in Royersford.
Bought my own dome.
That's what it is.
Now that the dome is doing a good job of capturing, but it's very high, but it's still something that helps.
Without anything here during the summer, you can still have a ton of people where the noise kind of comes together, but there's nothing for it to bounce off of. It just kind of gets lost in the air. So comedians have to adapt material a lot. You got to heavy load it with punchline after punchline after punchline. I've seen a lot more people thrive that are comedians that have that type of style, more so than the long, expansive storytelling type of comedian. So it's definitely changed the game a lot, and if it's the future of doing outdoor shows, that could change how people look at their acts and their sets and all their jokes and how they write things in general.
I like this, dude. It's like very Native American. You look like a dream catcher.
SoulJoel Richardson. You're the dream maker.
There it is, dude. He's wearing his fucking girlfriend's panties in his face. Seth, the ticket is $30 and you have to bring your own chair and beer.
No.
You're okay with it?
No. Because if I had to do a 2-drink minimum, how much would that be?
Yeah, if you had to do 2-drink minimum, it'd be $60-70.
Financially, it's actually, you guys helped us out.
I would kiss you on the lips, but you have a cold sore.
I do.
This is what comedy's come to. I'm about to do a sold-out show in a tent in the middle of a railroad yard in Royersford, Pennsylvania. The tent is sick. It looks like the hat from Handmaid's Tale. I haven't been on stage in 2 months. Shut up! I'm trying to do the promo. I haven't been on stage in 2 months. We're going to see what happens. Thanks, Joe Biden. This is your fault. This is an unbelievable dome, Joe. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. But I mean, it's great. Fucking in and out. The SoulJoel Heated Comedy Dome in Royersford, Pennsylvania. I mean, the people of Royersford woke up one day and were like, what the fuck is going on? What? What are they doing? But I love it, dude. There's a lot of heat. I mean, this is a fire hazard. It's gotta be. I mean, there's no way this is street legal. You paid the Royersford Fire Department off. You had to. It's volunteer. It's got to be volunteer, right? Is it volunteer? Yeah, it's fuck. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're like, listen, what do you want me to do? Okay, I'm looking for the stimulus. I'm a volunteer firefighter. Burn it down. We don't give a shit. We're in this fucking heated comedy dome. I mean, this is a Home Depot special. I like it. If you say one more word, I'm going to punch you in the face. And she was like, you can't even eat cheese. And like ran away. What are you asking me questions for? But that's a condition, because people are like, no, I know better. I Googled it. That's good. Fucking the train. Hold for the train. Joel, I mean, the placement of this. Oh, really? So people take that? Or it's this? There you go. I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, dude, if you're going by SoulJoel, these are the decisions you're going to make. You're like, this is great for comedy. The only issue is every 8 minutes, a fucking freight train goes through the show. But other than that, we're cooking with gas.
Holy shit. I mean, you have a train at this place. If we're going to stick with this, a train can happen at any point. But we will be bragging about that in a few years.
Yeah.
That holy shit, a train would go on. But we were happy to perform with the train because we didn't have shit. We didn't think there'd be anything for a while.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, everybody was so hungry for a chuckle. We were all going through hell, a pandemic and protests and political strife and all that crap. So I think people were like excited. Hey, we'll get a cooler, we'll get a lawn chair and a flip-flop and sit on this beach and laugh. But it feels like now it's like this, it's like a staple. It's like a comedy event almost, where it shifted from like, hey, this is a quirky, weird little show we'll go to, and now it's like, we got to go to Joel's. It's you know, Sam Jay's playing or Sam Morrill's playing or whoever the hell. So now it's like part of the whole comedy fabric, where like Joel's got this guy going. Let's go see him.
You know this gentleman, you see the Tonight Show, that you brother or Louis, right fucking here. Stop fucking your asses off the Mama Louis. The one and only, Robert Tonight!
I'm like, I would have wanted $5,000 to do this gig, 6 months ago, and now I'm doing it for free French fries because you just want to get up. So it's like sort of a classic example of life, of like, you just kind of adapt and take what you can get. And it definitely showed you like, God, I should have been more grateful, I guess, when I was running around doing these shows.
Attention. So it was, Dave Attell came, Big J gets pulled off stage, then Joel books Jim Brewer. It was just this perfect storm. And every time there was like a big show, there was one night it was, we didn't record it, but I can remember standing there, and I think I was standing next to Doug Key, and he was just like, oh my God, I go, this is such a great show. And I think Mackie was on it, and they're like, oh my God, I wish we would have recorded this, because it was just, you could feel, it was like electric, like, yeah. You could just feel something special was happening, and you feel that when you're at this venue. Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, I hope Royersford like now is on the map and continues to be a place that people want to go, because it really was the best weekend, and I've had some of the best shows of my life there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a dome now. It's open on the front and the back, and it's So it's completely different. It's warmer than the tent. It's probably about 20 to 25 degrees warmer than it is outside. So. Yes. Yeah, but it'll be warmer than it was when you were there last. Buddy, 2020 is so difficult, man. I don't know how to answer that question, and I'm not trying to be a carny and trick you. Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, no, it blocks the wind. So that night it was very windy. It won't be like that. So yeah, cool, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks so much, man. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Oh, that was cool.
I just recorded that. This is the
Everyone thinks
in all of its glory.
Everyone thinks I just show up at a show
the audience comes there, the comics, but you got to get here hours ahead of time to plug in the speakers, make sure the sound's all good to go.
Been responsible for kind of just like, and I think Joey St. John would probably agree, like, because it's such a small team and it's such a small crew, like, you just do whatever you have to do.
I guess my official title now, as Joel calls me, is his general manager, director of operations, and groundskeeper at times. So like I have to fill these heaters. I'm responsible for making sure that the porta potties are taken care of. Just general maintenance as well as all the marketing. So it's been a learning experience.
This is it. The dome.
There's still daylight out. Gotta get here before the sun goes down.
Oh yeah. This is the glory of comedy, my friends.
Yeah, just all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh yeah. This is where the magic happens, and this is the fun of doing comedy in 30-degree weather. And it's just so much for one man to handle. Like, it's you, Joey, and Joel, and like, you know, we got Dan, you know,
Yep.
as well. But
Dan
like,
just came on board, yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, Joel was talking to somebody the other day who runs a comedy club in New York, and like he was like, "You have how many people working for you?" And Joel said, "Well, 2 full-time now and 1 part-time." And he goes, "A 3-man staff, and that's you're doing
For entire comedy
that
club.
many shows?"
Yeah.
Like the person they were blown away by the magnitude that Joel, how he's blown up, and how little staff he has. But Joel, I mean, he does. He works 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
I did think that I was going to have to be laid off, and I totally understood why. Had I been at the casino still, I would have been furloughed, so it would have been the same either way. But after everything happened, after everything closed down, Joel wrote me a check for my regular paycheck, and on the paycheck it said, "Worth every penny." And he's like, "We're going to get through this, whatever we have to do. If we have to do online videos, if we have to do podcasts, we're going to continue, and you're going to have a paycheck every week." And he's been true to his word, and I've been here ever since.
At the porta potties. I think there's still some people in there from the last show. That's where Dan goes to get his blowjobs.
Those are little secrets.
From This is where all the seats and the heated lamps will be.
That's where it all happens. People think heated dome. People have a lot of different pictures in their head. But
Look at this fucking circus. I can't even believe that.
So what's the dimensions on this puppy?
Put this
65
together.
by 100. And how high is it? Or is that one of the dimensions? I don't know.
No. It's not all the dimensions, but if I had to guess, I think it's probably 40 feet.
So we knew that it had to be something to keep the elements out and to keep the heat in. So those domes are designed mainly for agricultural use, which isn't that far-fetched out here. So, but they're like 15 degrees warmer or cooler because it's covered naturally inside. And then the heater idea that I had originally just kind of, went kaput. And then I think Dan Callahan found all those heaters. Some guy had bought, because people bought them up in bulk because they knew that we were going to need them for outside.
Yeah.
And now they're just, interspersed in there. But yeah, so I have a construction background and, put everything in motion, and we had to have a foundation for it because we couldn't lag it into the ground. So we had, luckily for Joel, he wasn't here when it was being built, which was really great. So Joey St. John and I got here at like 6:30 in the morning to meet the guys to set the blocks, and the block company didn't tell us that I literally had to help them unload every one. We were paying them to deliver the blocks, and I was there the whole time, and I'm like, don't you guys have people that work? Like, why are we paying you?
So you and Joey had to do it?
Yeah, Joey and I are there like huge cinder blocks. Like they weigh a ton.
Yeah.
And we're wrangling all them and then trying to set them. And the dome was supposed to take 3 days. It ended up taking 15. We had a massive snowstorm right in the middle of it being built.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, anything and everything that could have happened, but it's built, and here we are. And I mean, people are blown away that that's what it turned out to be. But again, true Joel fashion, go big or go home.
And now we have all these sponsors of people that wanted to support the club that we put on the stage.
Interesting fact is that we didn't solicit any of these sponsors. They're all sponsors that reached out to us to support us and partner.
Yeah.
That speaks to the type of people that come to this too. I mean, it's a lot of small business, local.
If you want good painting and power washing, call Davis.
And we just made a decision that even if things get lifted and we have to go back inside at 25 to 50%, our odds are better if we just stay out here. So we kind of shopped around and found this dome. In the interim, while this was waiting to be delivered and installed, we had to have a tent. So, you know, hats off to Joey St. John and the rest of the crew for just adapting and figuring out how to keep people coming out, keeping them laughter, but most importantly, keeping everybody safe.
I mean, a little over a year prior, but then you come outside and it's a different ball game. I mean, just from audiences sitting in beach chairs with their feet in the sand, then you got to be able to adapt comedically material that way, but then it's ideal for people. They love it. BYO, it's outside. You're on a beach in the middle of Pennsylvania, you know. And then, you know, different structures and stuff kept people coming out. And look at all these space heaters that we got. We had some guy we found on Facebook deliver 12 of them one day. And, you know, we got enough heat and people still come out fully bundled up like crazy like I am. And they love comedy that much. And this is all just west of a major city where, you know, there's a ton of people that it really speaks to. So
Yeah, I mean, even through October, November, a lot of times, whatever comic came down, it was their first time on stage since March. And they can't thank me enough for just putting together some sort of normalcy where they feel like, you know, they're a comic again for whatever short amount of time. So it's been good, and I think they're really enjoying it.
You know, some landmarks.
This is Spring City over here, and they were pissed all summer that we were screaming obscenities and doing comedy across the river where the club used to be. But this is the future, baby.
It's the future of comedy.
This is the future of comedy.
Take it all in. I never looked at the weather more this year than ever.
Yeah.
And now, at least with the dome, we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
At least for
That's it.
Snow and rain proof.
Yeah, and for the summer, I mean, this is going to be great. And then, you know, the winter, you got the heaters now, so it's kind of cool. Like, this might be the future of comedy where, you know, you can still have, I mean, this is the closest thing to what it was like before the pandemic hit.
Yep.
And thank God you put this together, you know, because we're getting as close as we possibly could to what it was like before.
Yep.
The most special part about last year, I think Joel just not giving up in true Joel fashion. I can't say there were points where he wasn't really scared, because I would be lying to everybody if I said that he wasn't. Like, he was literally selling t-shirts like a used car salesman. Like, buy them today, buy them today, buy them today, on Facebook Live, just to keep, you know, Joey St. John employed and to keep the club alive and keep his dream alive. Like, he, you know, I told him, I said, you haven't worked, you didn't quit your job, your pharmaceutical job years ago. You didn't work your tail off for 14 years just to pack it up now.
Yeah.
But at every single turn, Joel just had that never give up attitude, never give up attitude. So I think the most special part, like, no one particular instance, it was just his perseverance.
Andy, last show of the year, how you feeling?
Feeling good, baby.
Feeling good. Fuck 2020.
No surrender, motherfucker.
I can cut it up.